There's no sugar-coating it when it concerns understanding the rope of existence. Sigma men have a little bit of a start by nature. They're critical thinkers and survivors, able to adapt to any circumstance, but occasionally, that very strength can work against them, leading them to make several mistakes along the way that they wish they could bring back. Here are 7 valuable lessons some Sigma men learn too late in life. Number 1. Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. Regardless of how talented or competent you are, if you're not prepared to put in the effort and devotion necessary to succeed, you may never accomplish your full potential. This is a lesson that Sigma men need to learn early in life if they aspire to achieve their objectives and live up to their full potential. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to be a hard worker and spend every waking hour crushing the way to your goals. It basically means that if you desire something severely enough, and you must prioritize your time and effort toward accomplishing it. This may mean giving up some party time or being willing to sacrifice other interruptions to pursue your ambitions. Making your way up requires devotion, attention, and perseverance, but if you're prepared to put in the work, no amount of talent will be capable of holding you back from achieving your goals and being the man you've always imagined yourself to be. Number 2. Life is not always fair. Since so many Sigma men have a sense of social justice and integrity, they frequently expect life to be fair and just, but regardless of how hard they strive, the world is usually more unpredictable than estimated. This may make them feel disappointed. When life isn't the way they thought, it would be or frustrated when things don't just go their direction, but these Sigma males need to understand that even though life isn't fair all the time, it's not meant to be. Our world is a chaotic place where we're continuously thrown into new and unexpected circumstances that sometimes violate logic or common sense. And this can end up leaving us feeling frustrated and confused from the outside. It should never block us from being ourselves from the inside, so if you're one of those Sigmas who are unable to comprehend why life isn't playing by your set of guidelines, on at all, and instead of allowing it to get you down, concentrate on how you want your life to unfold. You might even be shocked by what you discover along the way. Number 3. Being afraid to be unique. Being unique is not the equivalent of being weird. Sigma males are often different from other men, and for a long time, that difference caused them to feel like strangers. Instead of attempting to change who they are, some Sigma men could perhaps accept their differences as strengths. After all, one of the attributes that makes them special is precisely what attracts strong independent women. It's often remarked that their strength is in numbers, and while there's definitely some reality to that, it's not often the case, but being unique can be advantageous. Think about it this way: when everyone is doing the same thing, it's simple for somebody to mix in and go undetected. But if you're unique, you tend to stand out based on your viewpoint, which may be a positive or negative thing. Some individuals regard being unique as a negative thing, as they believe it makes them weird or unusual, but the reality is that being different is not a bad thing. It may be an advantage to have in this society of sheep. A mature Sigma male utilizes his uniqueness to his benefit and aims to be more successful than his peers, so don't be afraid to try something new. It just might be the greatest thing you ever do. Of course, being different doesn't actually imply you should behave like a complete weirdo. There's a distinction between acting out of the ordinary and throwing all convention to the wind. If you would like people to take your unique qualities seriously, do yourself a favor and don't go too far with them. Find ways to utilize your unique qualities without going over the top. Number 4. Overthinking is not always a good thing. Most Sigma men have an intelligent mind, which may be beneficial in some situations. For instance, it can assist them in making wise decisions or handling complicated problems, but occasionally, their tendency to overthinking things can work against them and lead to poor decisions or negative consequences. Overthinking may also create unnecessary stress and anxiety. When there is no legitimate reason to be concerned, and later when things do not go as planned, it can lead to feelings of regret and disappointment. Some Sigma men need to figure out how to strike a balance between utilizing their brain capacity for good and wasting too much energy on focusing on issues that won't actually occur to help themselves remain focused and prevent overthinking. Try some of these solutions. Routinely take a break from your commitments to relax and unwind. Go for a stroll or read a book. If you're feeling stressed out when faced with a challenge, consider breaking it down into smaller, more manageable pieces. That way, you can concentrate on one issue at a time, rather than getting overwhelmed by all the underlying factors. If you're prone to becoming stressed about potential events but won't try to talk yourself out of them and instead focus on more effective or positive ones. Overthinking may be a positive thing in some cases, but if you're not watchful, it can also contribute to all kinds of difficulties, so make sure you don't fall victim to this negative habit. Number 5. Thinking you have no purpose. One of the major challenges some Sigmas face is discovering a sense of purpose in life. Whether they are still trying to understand who they are, or struggling with waiting for the ideal match to finally come along. Worrying about purpose is a frequent problem for some Sigmas, but there are some questions you don't need to have all the answers or feel like you have your life planned out in order to establish meaningful goals and pursue your ambitions. Many of the world's most powerful people have encountered periods of unpredictability, confusion, and self-doubt before gaining the confidence to follow their hearts and chase what they truly want. So, if you're struggling with purpose or feeling lost, it's time to shift your focus from what you don't have to do, rather than agonizing over where you fit in or what your life's purpose is. Why not start setting goals and taking action today? If you're still having trouble figuring out what it is that makes you smile or even identifying your natural strengths, there are plenty of equipment and resources available that could help. However, if everything else stops working and you still feel so lost, keep in mind that your sense of purpose does not have to be connected to a single calling. Instead, you can pursue multiple aspirations and follow a few different directions. Remember that your dreams and objectives can be almost anything you want them to be, so instead of worrying about what your life's purpose is, why not focus on making memories that will lead you in the direction of your sense of purpose? So decide to be satisfied about where your ambitions are leading you. Number 6. You're not responsible for how people perceive you. There's no speculation about when Sigmas are often misinterpreted or blamed for being who they are, but what several of these Sigma men do not understand, is that you're not responsible for how other people perceive you. Even if someone doesn't recognize your perspectives, ideals, preferences, and choices in life, this doesn't give them the right to judge you or disparage your beliefs. And although this may well be easier said than done, it's critical that you don't allow the viewpoints or decisions of others to affect who you are as an individual. Make sure that you keep standing up for what is meaningful to you and stay faithful to yourself no matter how other people respond to your choices. If this means wearing what you desire or suggesting how you feel, then go for it. Remember that nobody can pressure you to change who you are from the inside out. So you should not let anyone else do so either. After all, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will either. There's the reason why Sigma males are often considered the lone wolves of the planet. Although it can be a lonely life at times on this superficial planet, it's composed for peace and freedom. You're only responsible for yourself and how you decide to reveal yourself, whether your character suits quiet reflection or an out-of-the-crowd personality. It's what makes you distinctive. You're not an alpha male, you're a Sigma male, so quit worrying about what other people think. Number 7. Your greatest strengths can become your biggest weaknesses. Although Sigma guys have a number of great attributes that make them who they are, they also possess some downsides. For instance, these men tend to be independent and self-assured in their abilities, which mostly leads them to be too difficult on themselves, when things aren't going according to expectations. This may also make them reluctant to ask for assistance or support. High personal expectations and determination are great assets, but they may also simply become downsides if they aren't balanced with kindness and self-love. To prevent this, you need to understand that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. Well, that is all for the video. If you find it helpful, consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends.